Good morning, everybody. How are you this day? Good, I know. It's very exciting. I'm very grateful that we were able to have an in-person option for students who graduated last year for us to be able to acknowledge their accomplishments. We just wanted to let you know, Sunday morning, Boulder County, we're waiting for a few other folks to show up, so we're going to get started in about 10 minutes. Okay? All right. Thank you for your patience.
Good morning, everybody. We are about to start our ceremony, so if you will please rise for the procession. And you may sit. Naropa graduations are unique and special because while students are processing, they're also processing contemplatively as they come in. My name is Lorenzo Gonzalez, and I'm the head of performance programs at Naropa. And thank you. And it's a great honor and a pleasure to be here with you, particularly because of the singularity of this ceremony, because we are today celebrating the resilience, tenacity, and love that these students have had, because they've already graduated, but they're here, and we want to celebrate them and we want to honor them. And so welcome all. It is our tradition at Naropa University to start with a bow and to end with a bow. And so to send things off for today, it is my great pleasure to introduce Chuck Leaf, the president of Naropa University.
Morning. Please feel free to join me in a bow. I will ring the gong at that point and we will commence. So welcome everybody to this experiment. We're really happy, as Lorenzo said, that we were able to arrange an opportunity for some of the graduates over the last year to come back and join us in person. And while the numbers are a little bit small, it's a very mighty group of graduates that I can see in front of me, so I'm very pleased. I will say, so yesterday we had another in-person graduation for those people whose time was up in December of this year, which was wonderful. I then went home and realized when I read my contract that I'm only required to give one winter graduation talk a year. So if any of you were here yesterday, too bad. I've stolen some of my lines. That's just the way it will be. So I appreciate everybody being here. Mainly I want to welcome you back. Those of you, some of you I'm welcoming back from a very short distance, perhaps some of you from long distance, and we'll find that out as we get to know each other at the reception. But in general, it's a joy for all of us that the graduates whose ceremony was only virtual have a chance to come together today and to share the successful completion of your study and your practice at Naropa. The bachelor and master's degrees that you earned last year marked a great accomplishment, and today's a chance for Naropa faculty, staff, students, guests to honor that achievement. And I especially want to welcome the family and friends of the graduates, and happy that you were able to join us today. One thing I said yesterday, which I will repeat because I mean it very deeply, is great gratitude to the staff who put together an in-person event for both yesterday and today. This is a staff that for the last 2 years has worked incredibly hard to support the health and safety of our community. And their willingness to organize these 2 days of events is just another evidence of the commitment that they have to Naropa, to the students, and to the Naropa community. So I just want to thank all the staff for stepping up. What's becoming clear over the last 2 years or so is that coming together in community at Naropa is taking on broader meaning as we're increasing the number of ways that we can connect in virtual spaces while still maintaining our commitment to in-person gatherings like these or in the classroom. In time, I think that virtual Naropa and in-person Naropa will allow for greater diversity and inclusion, as well as maintaining the intimacy offered by our residential community. And that's already bearing fruit. Now that we have several online courses, we're able to hire faculty who, for a host of reasons, would never be able to move to Boulder, but who are bringing a kind of richness to the university that is moving us into a more diverse community much more quickly than we might otherwise have been able to accomplish. But for today, I want to just offer again a warm welcome and gratitude for all of you who are here joining us in person. I know that over the last year or more, all of you have been engaging in a world, and your stories are the emerging stories that are being woven together with the alums who preceded you over now almost a half century. Naropa's 50th anniversary is coming up in just 2 years. And we've had thousands and thousands of graduates who are in the world, greatly impacting the world, whether that's in psychology, the arts, environmental studies, activism, education, a whole range of ways that you're expressing what you gained by your time at Naropa. And you'll find over time through the Alumnex Affairs Office that you'll be asked to provide us some basic information about what you're doing in the world. And that's really important because it helps us as we continue to evolve new programs, evolve our curriculum, and so on. And that's important for us. I hope that when you get those surveys that you'll actually pay attention to them and that you'll share. But to me, when I'm asked, which happens all the time, what can I do or what can my loved one do with a Naropa education, it's the stories that are the most powerful way for me to answer that question. And so I'd love the data, but I'd especially love when you get to those boxes in the survey that says anything else or whatever it's going to say, that's the place to really spend some time. Knowing what you're doing, knowing your story, knowing the impact that you have in the world, knowing how a Naropa education has served you, or in cases where you don't think it has served you as well. All of that information is something which is so important for me to understand and to be able to really share with the increasing number of people who are exploring this place as a next stop in their educational journey. It's obligatory, I guess, and I'm sure that if you haven't heard or read or spoken enough about COVID and challenges that we're sharing, I'll say you can get that somewhere else. I'm not going to focus on that today. I want to focus on your accomplishments. I want to focus on the unfolding future that you have. What, however, I think is important to look at is the social impact that we've all experienced over the last few years, not particularly or especially the pandemic, but also arising from the urgent dialogue around issues of justice and equity, which are sparked, of course, by the violence perpetrated against so many people of color in the US, but more broadly, the way in which we're illuminating the economic and the power dynamics that are increasingly dividing us as socially and politically. Naropa is enriched by welcoming students from 30 or more states and 15 to 20 countries every year. And the richness of the experiences and perspectives we hope are the foundations of a diverse community with distinctive expressions. So social and political distinctions from my point of view are not really a problem, they're an opportunity. The challenge is when those differences are met with aggression, ignorance, intolerance, greed, sort of all of those sort of emotional reactions. That's the challenge. And the challenge is what we can do to break those patterns and re-emerge from a place of greater integration in recognition of the fact of interdependence of us all. And I hope that you all had experience in the 2 or 3 or 4 years of time that you were at Naropa to get a deeper understanding of those interconnections and interdependence, because that really forms the sort of underlying foundation of the work that we've done since the first summer in 1974. From our founding, Naropa's mission has been to offer the disciplines which support personal growth and awareness, as well as those that offer confidence that each of you needs to be productive and passionately engaged in a complicated world of humans, other sentient beings, and a built and a natural environment, the entire picture. The co-equal emphasis here on inner work and effective external expression is the key to resilience, and resilience is definitely the word of the day. So many people lack the tools to transmute the energy of burnout and trauma. Offering antidotes to those struggles has been foundational to Naropa from the beginning. When we convened first in 1974, the concept of social and emotional learning was something that was brand new, just arising out of a lab at Yale, probably somewhere else as well, but Yale always gets to say it's theirs. And the field of emotional intelligence was in its infancy. However, it's interesting to know that the popular father of emotional intelligence, the journalist Daniel Goldman, who wrote this seminal book in the field many, many years ago, began outlining that book when he was at Naropa for 2 years in 1974 and 1975. And it was his exchange with anthropologists and other scientists, with meditation instructors and other spiritual leaders, with artists and poets and writers, and the whole range of Naropa staff, faculty, and students that got him to a place where he understood how this interweaving of contemplative education, contemplative pedagogy, and techniques, along with academic disciplines, actually could emerge into something which then be called emotional intelligence, and how emotional intelligence was actually an important measure of how any of us are doing individually and how a society is actually either achieving or not achieving its promise. And so we're very proud that Naropa was the sort of incubator for that work. In some ways, Naropa, our aspiration in 1974 was ahead of its time. And in some ways, it became a Western expression of the contemplative traditions which go back millennia. So we've always had feet in both worlds. Heritage and tradition, extremely important. Letting go of heritage and tradition, equally important to make sure that there's open space, which I hope all of you have experienced here, to be creative, not bound by what somebody else says is the right way to do things. The traditions in which mindfulness and compassion joined with academic rigor and artistic disciplines to offer a full experience of study, personal practice, and service is the Naropa mission and has been from the beginning. Our faculty are connected by lineage to the founding vision, to extraordinary forebearers, and simultaneously, each faculty member is a pioneer in their own field, creating fresh and innovative ways to demonstrate the truth of our promise that East meets West and the sparks will fly. And I hope all of you can touch in for a moment and remember some time at Naropa where that spark flew for you, and that you were challenged in the way that was offered from the very beginning by our founder. So I want to congratulate you for your stellar accomplishments and just invite you to keep Naropa in your heart as we keep you in ours. Congratulations again, and welcome back. I will end, I've tended only to do this at the spring graduation, but I don't know why. I will end with a poem that was written by Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, our founder, called Timely Rain. which is a few lines that I hope will actually frame your journey both at Naropa and as you leave this place. And I will just say for those scholars that there's 2 Sanskrit words in the poem that I've translated myself, and so it is not exactly faithful to the text, but almost. In the jungles of flaming ego, may there be cool iceberg of awakened heart. On the racetrack of bureaucracy, may there be the walk of the elephant. May the sumptuous castle of arrogance be destroyed by diamond-like confidence. In the garden of gentle sanity, may you be bombarded by coconuts of wakefulness. Congratulations, and thanks for coming back.
Thank you, President Charles Leaf. Something that sometimes we forget is that our president is a unique person because he has counted to infinity twice. Oh, somebody got it. It is now my extraordinary great pleasure to introduce one of the beautiful souls here at Naropa. Sherry Elms is an associate professor in environmental studies, and she is the lead faculty at the Joanna Macy Center. She asked me to tell you that she has been here for years. Please give us a big hand for Sherry Elms.
Oh, okay, right where I can see it. Okay. Well, this is an interesting challenge. Back years ago, I was taller. And now I need a booster. And it'll also be a challenge because I need my reading glasses with a mask. So, yeah. You can hear me okay? Great. So I want to also welcome you all, the graduating students, the faculty, the staff, and particularly I want to welcome the parents and the friends and the relatives who have joined us to participate in this celebration. It's an unusual occasion, like no other. Unprecedented is an overused word these days, but we had a virtual graduation last year, and I think this event actually speaks to the importance and the desire to share celebration with others in person. That we are having this ceremony sort of after the fact acknowledges the importance of community. It makes a difference. We are not meant to be alone. We are social beings, and I've objected to that notion of social distancing. It's physical distancing, but that has not kept us from being separate from each other. In a sense, I think that you all have been pioneers and warriors in an adventure you did not plan or intend. Circumstances were thrust upon you, and you persevered, not what you expected. So truly, congratulations for your accomplishments, your dedication, and how you have navigated these really uncertain and turbulent waters. You have acquired skills that you may not even be evident to you yet, that are yet to be discovered. A major skill that we're all working with is making a relationship to uncertainty. And it's something we've all had to deal with. In fact, the truth is there was very little that we know is certain, and we never have, even before the pandemic. It's just not the way life works out. So in the language of rites of passage, you have left what has become somewhat familiar, even though strange, crossing a threshold and entering the next phase, further mystery, the place of not knowing. It's a major transition, changing from one state or condition to another. And transitions by nature are inherently edgy, unsettling, maybe even a bit of anxiety mixed with excitement. And if you think of your own personal transitions throughout your life, like first grade, you go to school, that's really a big deal. And then maybe you've been moved from one town to another in your childhood or other times, and suddenly you're in a different environment. Everything's different. The stores are different, the people are different, the teachers are different. And there's the big transition when you left whatever you were doing, whether it was geographically or whatever, and came to Naropa. And it's a transition to leave Naropa. Maybe you're starting a new job, maybe you're looking for work, but it's very different than what it was a few months ago. And yet this is exactly where learning occurs. Contemplate those transitions that you've made and continue to make, and even though they were uncomfortable, what did you learn? Maybe not good or bad necessarily, but you learned something. These transitions, in these transitions, you're leaving behind your habitual patterns, your way of being in the world, without these reference points of who you are, how you are, who you've left behind, your habitual way of being with yourself, your identity, for better or worse. This is occurring at a time that many say that the entire planet is going through a rite of passage, a global transformation into something that is unknown, uncertain, a paradigm shift that has never been experienced before. We do not know what is the next chapter. This climate chaos that some call a crisis is in our face. Humanity must move quickly as a society, as a country, as a planet. According to the latest science reports, we don't have much time left. And at the same time, we need to slow down internally and increase our capacity for resilience, to self-regulate the bombardment of input to our nervous system. To slow down, we need more space. And this is quite a dichotomy. And this is what I feel Naropa alum have to offer yourself and society. I'll say more about that in a moment. But the word has really sped up. Just in my lifetime, exponentially. I remember when I first got an answering machine. Because before then, if you wanted to talk to somebody, you needed to be in your home, and you had to call them, and they had to be in their home, or that was just, you didn't do it. And I also remember, and I don't know, maybe people can raise their hands if I'm the only one that remembers this, but television at night, and of course the beginning was just black and white television, but television around midnight would turn off, and it would just go fuzzy, and you would see this cloud and a song, and I think somebody was reaching towards the spirit or something, and then boom, it was over. I'm just curious, I can't see you. How many people remember that? Yay, okay. Yeah, it was really different then, wasn't it? Then there was more space. Space between night and day, between sleep and awake. There was space. Things moved more slowly. It is just the way it was. Now we have input 24/7. They're proud that we can broadcast news instantaneously throughout the world, throughout the night, Twitter, tweet, Instagram. Noticing our own patterns and how we've been affected by this. How many people have brought their cell phone today? Did you turn it off? Yeah. And maybe in your mind you have to maybe text somebody before you go, or maybe you're going to even text somebody right now because they just texted you, okay? And so where is your mind then? Is it here? No, it went someplace else. The average American checks their smartphones 96 times a day. That's once every 10 minutes. Just think about what that can do to our psyche, to our brain, to our world. It has become an addiction as well as so important. It's really a double-edged sword. But we can pay attention to work with that. It's the dark side of speeding up communication, where the recipients and the participants of this world moving at exponential speed compared to even 10 years ago. So how do we navigate such an immense paradigm shift? And I have been influenced very much by the work of Joanna Macy, eco-philosopher, Buddhist scholar, and environmental activist. She speaks about the necessary revolution of going from business as usual, what is called the industrial growth society, to a life-sustaining society. And currently, we're in the very much industrial growth society. We measure success of countries, of a society, by its economic growth, quarterly corporate profits. Are we buying and consuming enough? What is a holiday season going to be like? What will that affect in terms of our economy if people don't purchase lots of things? And what will that happen for people who have businesses if we don't purchase things? These are the things that we're measuring in terms of the health of our society. It's not our well-being. It's not our health, our happiness, our sense of contentment, safety, and security, our positive relations, our feelings of belonging. This is not mentioned or even taken into consideration for a healthy society. A society does not skip from one paradigm to the next because it seems like a good idea. Who doesn't want to live in a life-sustaining society? Well, there is that transition that is necessary and inevitable. To participate in the great turning to a life-sustaining society, we have to experience the feel of the transition. The great unraveling never has been more apparent. As we see things fall apart, political divisions, the systemic racism and violence towards people of color and indigenous populations, the systemic degradation and dishonoring of women, the relegation of animals and plants largely as a resource for human needs, the aggression between nations, the increased equity between the wealthy and the poor. So, what do we do? There's a sense of urgency, even emergency, and I'd like to look at that root. The root of those words is emerge. I'd like to reframe what is happening. What is emerging? What I would like to suggest, we must become familiar with other ways of knowing, other ways of being. Many cultures assume this. It's not just what your cognitive brain tells you is true, or this is the way it is. Largely modernist times, and particularly in the West, we have emphasized what our intellect and cognition tells us. From the indigenous point of the words of Malidoma Some, from the Dagara tradition of Africa, it is only part of the nature of reality. That different indigenous view was expressed by Eduardo Duran, who spoke recently here at Naropa, a clinical psychologist who's worked for decades with indigenous populations, particularly ones who are veterans, who have experienced PTSD, depression, all the things that we've heard about, the anxiety. And he realized that he was not communicating well with them, and that he had forgotten their different worldview, and that rather than giving them the diagnosis of Western psychology, you have PTSD, you are depressed, we are going to call you, you're dealing with sadness and trauma. He shifted his language and said, rather than a diagnosis, he said, the spirit of sadness is moving through you. The spirit of depression is moving through you. This gives person agency and empowerment, and you cannot get stuck. In fact, it helped me just hearing the talk, because sometimes I really get stuck. Does anybody else experience that? And you think that whatever your state of mind is, your state of being is, that's just it. and there's no way out, and it will always be that way. English language does not impedes that understanding, actually, because it's subject, verb, object. I am here doing something out there, and that just exacerbates our feeling of separation from ourselves, from other people, from the environment around us. And it's similar to the Buddha's teachings, also, that there is not a separate self. One of the examples I often think of is, I love waterfalls. Well, what's a waterfall? It's not a fixed object. It's water falling. It's in process. So our existence is not just stopping at our skin. We are part of an expanded sense of self that some call the ecological self. Our breath tells us we are alive. Without being able to breathe, we would be dead in about 4 minutes. With water, would last a little longer. The quote frequently used is, "Cut off my arms and legs and I will still live. Cut off my breath and I die. How can you say that my limbs are more a part of me than the breath, than air?" And the Tao Te Ching, quote here from the Taoist teachings that's ancient, going back to the time of Confucius. This is from the Tao Te Ching. "True goodness is like water. Water is good for everything. It does not compete. It goes to the low, loathsome places and so finds the way. No competition, no blame." And I think of water. Water finds its way around everything that obstructs it. Gentle but tough. And slowly, it can create grand canyons. So this precious planet is like no other, and we must let our tears flow, not just from the grief that moves through us, but with the tears of joy at this remarkable planet Earth. Seeing all of you here today brings tears of life to me as you continue your journey. Joanna Macy, at 92, says with a great smile on her face, "It is such an incredible time to be alive. With such uncertainty, there is unlimited possibilities we've not yet dreamed of. The world is asking to be born through us. So I say we came from the earth. We are not connected to it. It is our home, and we must take care of it. We must love it into being. This generation is already manifesting this, at least here at Naropa. I have witnessed in my classes the incredible imagination and creativity of our students. And I'm looking at some of you right now. And your compassion. This is not to be disregarded. It is so important. So I encourage you, keep moving, keep creating, keep dancing with each other. Listen to the land-based wisdom that says we go together. We have never been separate. Those of us at a different stage of life are moving with you, an intergenerational dance into the unknown with courage, joy, and delight. So just a couple final words. When all is swirling around you, please listen to the voice within you. That is the most important voice. The voice within you that wants to live, that wants to express itself, that wants to love and to love others, human and the other than human. Success is not being confident and smiling and having all the answers. It's feeling your tender heart. Don't wait for life to happen. It is happening right now. Life is a process. There's no place to get stuck. Keep moving. Be curious. When encountering uncertainty, when stuck, I just suggest to you, even today, whatever, when you get stuck, when you're met with blockage, when you're met with uncertainty, pause and slowly breathe. Each breath you take tells you that you are alive and you belong to a larger reality, to the cosmos. So I would like to end with a poem. I always think that I'll choose a different poem because I love poetry and there's so much amazing poets. But I always come back to this one, so why not? And you may have heard it before, but I never get tired of hearing it. It's by Ursula K. Le Guin. Please bring strange things. Please come bringing new things. Let very old things come into your hands. Let what you do not know come into your eyes. Let desert sand harden your feet. Let the arch of your feet be the mountains. Let the paths of your fingertips be your maps, and the ways you go be the lines on your palms. Let there be deep snow in your inbreathing, and your outbreath be the shining of ice. May your mouth contain the shapes of strange words. May you smell food cooking you have not eaten. May the spring of a foreign river be your navel. May your soul be at home when there are no homes. Walk carefully, well-loved one. Walk mindfully, well-loved one. Walk fearlessly, well-loved one. Return with us, return to us. Be always coming home. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you so much. You know, there's something about the rite and the rites and the ceremony of graduation. We all feel it the night before. I'm sure last night probably you were thinking about, oh, I got to get up early and I got to set up the alarm and whatever to get here. We think about it. And so for me, I have this particular ceremonial dinner that I go to at Panda Express. So because I pick a fortune cookie, and I want to offer that fortune cookie to you guys today, because it's your graduation fortune. So let's see. Enjoyed your dinner? Take one to go. Okay, that one doesn't work. I do bring extras. Let's see. If you think we're going to sum up your life in this piece of paper, you're crazy. Okay. Well, third one's always the good one, okay? So here we go. Okay. Nothing is impossible to a willing heart. Love, because it's the only true adventure. And I hope you love this next offering, and it is a celebration by current students, and they're celebrating you and they're saluting you. So let me introduce to you Jeremy Messoff, Mary Schoen, and Macy Gosh to present to you this dance that they have created especially for you. Thank you, Jeremy, Mary, and Mace. Also, it's worth noting that the music was composed by Faith Christian, who is a student that graduated yesterday, and the music, the title of the song is Magic Rainbows. So, if you look for her on Spotify, you'll find her. So now, it is my great pleasure and great honor to introduce not only someone who has been my boss, but a very dear friend and wonderful artist. Sue West has been serving as Chief Academic Officer since 2021, and she has also served in numerous roles here at Naropa for over the past 26 years. So please give Sue West a big hand. I left you a fortune cookie.
We'll start with bringing up Dr. Lauren Intolabi Camille to read the names of our graduates. And Lauren is our Dean of Undergraduate Education here, the Naropa College, and the Graduate Collective. And she just started 2+ months ago. So it's an honor to have her read the names. And so we can come up to the stage, and then she'll call your names, and you come up, and I'll give you some roses.
Can you hear me? Okay, great. So I'll also be announcing the programs. So Eco-Psychology, Kat Pantaleo. Transpersonal Counseling Psychology, Concentration in Transpersonal Art Therapy, Dakota Acosta. Transpersonal Counseling Psychology, yes. Concentration, Transpersonal Art Therapy, Crystal England. Transpersonal Counseling Psychology, Concentration in Transpersonal Art Therapy, Carrie Ann Hernandez. Theater, Contemporary Performance, Molly Jane Quirk. Contemplative Psychology, Concentration in Somatic and Humanistic and Transpersonal, Maxine Scher. Creative Writing and Literature, Morgan Graham. Environmental Studies, Anisha Cannon. Interdisciplinary Studies, Daniel Hauser.
Naropa University graduates, class of 2020. Welcome back. It is my great honor to give you the charge. I suppose you got it on Zoom last year, and so you are the double charged graduates. I chose two meanings of the word charge to empower you. To entrust, number one, to entrust you with the task or a duty or a responsibility, and number two, to store electrical energy. I wish upon you both of these charges. I wish for you the contemplative life where you find times that are free of values, free of views. You are uncontrived, bewildered with big sky mind. In this way, you belong everywhere. To experience this openness is to practice belonging. This is the ultimate intimacy, being one with whatever is in front of you. Then you belong to this moment. To belong in this way is to love. The small self disappears into mutual belonging, and then you love by taking care of things and love all beings. I entrust you to a future of love and that which brings you alive. The architect Christopher Alexander writes, "To bring a building alive, you must build it with a quality without a name. And to create a quality without a name, you must do everything with love." The poet Rumi states, "Let the beauty of what you love be what you do." In art training, there's a saying, "Fortune favors bold." Be bold. Be unapologetically and tenaciously yourself. Angel Kyoto Williams says, by being honestly willing to engage with our suffering, we find our connection to the suffering of the world. Stay the course. This is intimacy. Love boldly. From the book Love in a Time of Terror, Barry Lopez states, we need to step into a deeper conversation about enchantment and agape, to actively explore a greater capacity to love other humans. We have had a tough few years. We are heartbroken and exhausted, and yet against many odds, graduates, you have made it here today again. I deeply congratulate you, and thanks for coming back. Michael Beckwith calls the tough times a dark night of the soul. These are times of existential dread, spiritual drought, grief. In these times, he suggests we walk with remembered radiance. If you recall times that were radiant in your life, then you will be ready to remember them when things are tough. Be ready. Now for the charge. I give you a high five. The high five is a gesture in which you slap the palm of your hand against the palm of someone else's hand in the air, usually to show that you are happy about a victory or accomplishment. This is electric. It is a form of kinetic energy. The charge of Naropa University class of 2020 has 5 parts. 1, entrust in that which brings you alive. Practice love. 2, amp up your electromagnetic presence. Continually recharge yourselves. 3, belong to each moment and each being. 4, be bold. 5, walk in remembered radiance. Well done, and high five. And thanks for coming back.
Thank you indeed for coming back. Thank you for taking this walk. It means a lot to you and it means a lot to us. So thank you so much. After the hang 5, I'll give you a hang 10. So do hang 10 with us. We have a reception set in the south atrium, please, in the second and also in the first floor. And there's also a photo booth above where you can take pictures with yourself, your classmates, your peers that are graduating with you, your family. And so thank you again for coming back. It's been a great honor to be your ceremonial guide for today. And in closing, I would like to welcome again President Charles Leaf.
Thanks, everyone. So we'll close with a bow, and then I'll ring the gong, and I'll just offer you an invitation. If you can, just listen to the gong and feel the vibrating molecules. I've thought about this for a number of years, that this is actually the final gift of Naropa and is going to give you an opportunity to touch back into this place at unexpected times. So when this gong sounds and when these molecules kind of infuse your body, they're there for good. And you'll have moments of memory that will connect you back to this place, and I hope that you will enjoy that moment. Sometimes it will be an opportunity to wake up at times that you weren't planning to wake up, but in any case, it's our gift to you regardless. Thanks, everyone.